right, everybody. Welcome to the HooperCast, episode 151. It's Friday, February 23rd, and I'm feeling naughty.
No, gosh, you took it to a weird place off the bat.
Right off the bat, everybody. If you were listening to us on SoundCloud, we have a video show on YouTube. Just look for HooperCast on YouTube. It's spelled just like it is on the SoundCloud account, so just do that on YouTube. And YouTube, we have audio in case you don't want to stick around and watch us. Or, I mean, you know, if you don't like YouTube for lots of good reasons, then go to SoundCloud.
There's a lot of good reasons.
There's a lot of good reasons. But go over to SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/mrhooper-1, I think it is. I don't know. The HooperCast on SoundCloud. It's really not that hard. I shouldn't have to tell you all the links. You're
pop it up on
internet
the screen.
savvy.
Boom.
Yeah, just look for it. You could Google it. We are Googleable.
Googleable.
Yeah.
Everything is Googleable.
Everything is Googleable with Barbie.
Why do you take it to weird places?
Because there was a slogan that was like, everything is possible with Barbie. And I know that because I watched television as a child and there were commercials for Barbie and I didn't buy one.
Okay. All right. You do you.
So don't ask me anymore about it.
You do you.
What I am going to do today is talk about a couple of films I saw recently that I wanted to. I had some brief thoughts on them. I'm not going to get very in depth to these films, but I feel like they're worth mentioning to various folks who might be listening.
Right.
So these films are both in Redbox right now. Mm-hmm. You can go rent them right now because they're in Redbox right now. Right now. How many more times I got to say right now? The first one we're going to talk about is Blade Runner 2049. Obviously sequel to the 1980 something film. Was it 82? God, it's early. 1980, yeah. Early 80s.
Right.
Film Blade Runner starring Harrison Ford, directed by Ridley Scott. This film I thought was a terrible idea when they talked about doing a sequel, because it was like, why would you do that?
Right.
Ridley Scott did not direct this. He did produce it. And it stars Ryan Gosling. You've got Harrison Ford in there again, coming back as Rick Deckard. And it is directed by Denis Villeneuve, who you may know from Prisoners, Sicario, Arrival.
Basically any movie you've liked in the past few years.
Yes. I'm going to be rewatching Sicario soon because I didn't like it, but I feel like I feel like I didn't do it right. So I'm going to go watch Sicario again because the rest of his films are really stunning. So I want to, except for this one, of course, but we'll say not all the way.
Okay.
This film, I just so in this movie, you follow Ryan Gosling, and I can spoil this, but Dustin, do you want me to spoil it for you? I don't know if you're interested.
I would prefer to not be spoiled,
okay.
but
I won't.
But
then.
you do what you got to do.
You've got Ryan Gosling, who terminates, who retires, as I say, old replicants. So then he starts. This is just where I sort of speed through all this because I really don't know what the plot of this film is. Ryan Gosling is looking. He retires a replicant, and then he finds this box, and they basically find there's this really interesting idea introduced of a replicant who could be born and not made. And so he's pretty much following up on that for a lot of the movie and simultaneously looking for Rick Deckard. And then this is where I just kind of get lost about what he's actually doing. And internally, of course, he's looking for a lot more of a purpose than just like retiring, the replicants. I will say this because I don't think this is a spoiler.
Okay.
Well, if I say it and I'm wrong, whatever.
Just say it.
Just say it in the first scene. He is a replicant. He's not a human. I don't know if you knew that.
Gosling?
Ryan Gosling is a replicant.
Okay, yes.
So that's like the kind of the big thing is like, yeah, like he's a replicant who kills replicants.
Right.
And at some point, like his boss says to him, like, hey, at least you're doing just fine without a soul, and he kind of says this whole like, yeah, like thing. And then So he's looking for more of a purpose than just being just kind of this dog who hunts his own kind. And so through this search, he sort of finds a greater purpose, which I guess is the point of the film. Mm-hmm. I'm glad. So when I told people that I didn't really enjoy this film, they were shocked.
Yeah, I was a little shocked.
For some people, it's like, oh, but the biggest response I heard was like, oh, but just the ideas it introduces. And I was just like, stop right there, because films. This is where I sound like, like a big populist, but films, yes, films are a great vehicle and a necessary vehicle for philosophical questions and big ideas that you can't necessarily showcase in other art forms. But when I'm watching but I'll say this, at least from where I'm sitting, this film didn't present anything new to the philosophical conversation, anything more than the original Blade Runner film did. Okay. And simultaneously, it was not that entertaining. At least from what I really wanted to get out of it. Now, this is also something where this could just be my sensibilities, because Denis Villeneuve presented a film that was immaculately shot by Roger Deakins. Mm-hmm. Great cinematographer, obviously. Denis Villeneuve's a great director, and the cast, everything is right here. And there's lots of moments in this film that defy expectations, that defy genre. So it's a very slow philosophical think piece, where every frame keeps you engaged because the cinematographer is the genius.
Right.
So all the pieces are there. So I'm thinking, well, is the problem that I was looking for a little bit more? But I wasn't really looking for like a blockbuster. There was no scene in here that stank of a studio executive going, we need like a chase sequence. There was nothing like that, where it just felt like this out of place. So everything in this film does feel very organic. It just really comes down to like, well, why are you watching this? Are you watching this because you liked the first film? Then fine, you will like this film. If you're watching it because you want to see some cool sci-fi that would entertain you, I sort of might say the general audience won't like this. If you haven't seen the first Blade Runner, I recommend watching that first, because not only does it help with like continuity, and it's a sort of setup of this world, but it's going to really test you about, you need to know what you're getting out of this film. These films are an acquired taste.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me ask you this. So since you mentioned the first Blade Runner, how did you feel about the first Blade Runner?
About the same. The first Blade Runner is really interesting ideas. But the final monologue by Roy Batty in that film, that's like where this conversation ended, and this movie didn't really pick it up. It had a chance to, and it didn't. Roy Batty says this thing where, replicants have a 3-year lifespan, and Roy Batty, they all went rogue, and they don't want to be killed. They want to live. Yeah. Because to him, he's like, what's the difference between you and me? Like, I have hopes and dreams and feelings and aspirations, and I experience life. I'm essentially like a carbon copy of a human, but I'm not a human. I don't have a soul. But do I? Right. Because I still experience all the things you do. I still think the same kind of things that you're able to think. So really, what's the difference? What is humanity? Right. And there's been lots of video essays about how the replicants are sort of, in a way, have more humanity than the humans in there. Roy Batty is a combat replicant, and one of the final things he does in that film is save Deckard's life when he really doesn't have to. Yeah. Because Deckard's trying to kill him. Yep. So those are large ideas that. Yeah. So this film kind of does the same thing. It's just, I'm glad it posits a philosophical question, but sure. But so this could be where my preference really parts way with other artists. But at least for me, you got to entertain me first. For your idea to be palatable, if you want me to take the pill, you got to wrap it in that sugar, man. You got to wrap it in chocolate. No.
I mean, a movie is more than its ideas. A movie is more than its theme. A movie is also about the execution of those ideas and the presentation of that theme. And so you can say all day long the film has great ideas, or the film has a great concept, but if the execution isn't there, then and that's debatable, right? Like you could say, oh, I like the presentation, or I don't like the presentation. That's the subjective part. And you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, a film has to be more than just its ideas. So anybody who's like, oh, good ideas, okay, great. But if it doesn't entertain me, then it doesn't entertain me.
At the same time, though, like, I don't think I'm the common opinion on this film. I don't know what I really expected. I think I maybe expected, because it was modern, it would be paced better. And I think maybe it is. But there's a couple of times where sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I've heard a lot of people praise it. But I think I'm with you in that I like the first Blade Runner, but I didn't love it. I think it's okay.
I feel really the same about these two films. Like, they're almost the same in my eyes. And you know, so, I mean, it doesn't have to be like a mindless action, but something, I just feel like I needed a little bit more to sort of keep me invested in Ryan Gosling's character.
Sure.
More than just like, he's looking for stuff and he's the person whose point of view we're following. So, okay, we're trapped with him, I guess. Like, I guess I wanted more reason to care about him. Maybe that was it. I don't know. It just felt, I came away, I'm looking at my notes right now. I'm just trying to put myself back in that headspace, but I came away thinking, what was the point?
Yeah.
You know, was it for, see, I can't say any of this stuff. It's all spoilers. But so there's a plot with Harrison Ford. He's trying to get, he ends up somewhere in the film. So for me, it's like, is he end up there? Is that the point? Because if that's the point, then what's the point of following a different character? Why isn't Deckard the protagonist? And so, if like, what's his purpose if the film's about Deckard getting to this place?
Right.
So and then we come into the end of the film and he's part of a greater good, but then what? Like, what does that mean? Yeah. Where are we going with this? What's next? I just had these kind of, you know, these sort of lingering thoughts. It was just, it felt to me like too much atmosphere and not enough, I don't know, not enough. I just feel like a simpleton saying all this, because it's like, oh, there's not enough just there happening on the screen. But I think maybe it's just, I appreciate not being spoon fed. On one hand, I really do appreciate not being spoon fed stuff. But another part of me was like, I just wish it had made more sense to me.
Sure.
This film is, you know, really well executed, and really, really well done. I mean, I do recommend, I want people to look at the images in this film. Yeah. I just want you to know what you're getting into.
Gotcha.
You know, pay attention to the dialogue, really think about the ideas, I guess. You know, there's some cool stuff. I think Jared Leto's character is kind of cool. You know, I mean, he doesn't do much, but I liked all the pieces were there, all the philosophies, all the different ways to look at life based on the points of view of a lot of these characters. That's all there. It's all on display. So there are interesting things to think about. It's definitely a talker. It's definitely a film that's supposed to get you to talk about these sort of ideas. Yeah. At a certain point, I talked about the idea that there could be replicants that were born and not made. Mm-hmm. And they reveal who that person is in this film. And it's not who you think it is. It's not who you are, you know, led to believe. And at the time I was like, oh, that would have been good. I'm kind of mad that was a red herring, because I would have been okay with, you know, well, first of all, I was like, oh, good. It wasn't obvious, because I picked up on that, like, you know, right away. Like, it's like, oh, I see that red herring coming. Like, it better not be this person, because they would have done a terrible job at hiding it. Then they reveal it, and it's someone else. And then I was mad, actually, that it wasn't the first person I thought it was, because then it would have given that character more significance.
Gotcha.
And I was sort of upset, like, you still could have hit all... It's just like with Star Wars. You still could have hit all these points and made the characters and this character more interesting had you just, you know, bestowed that significance on this person and not that person.
Right.
And I don't know. I just felt like there was one or two things they could have done differently that would have enriched the story. But sure. I can't really say what they are. But so it's Redbox. It's not going to cost you that much. So just realize, like, if it's Friday night and you're like, hey, let's watch Blade Runner, it's like, it's not, you're not watching like Mad Max. You're watching, you know, put your thinking cap on.
Right.
You know, that's what's going on. So,
sure.
So I would think that, I don't know, if I were to give it a rating, I'm probably at a 3.
Okay.
Just because it hits its mark for me. I mean, and its mark was probably more deserving of a higher grade. But I just came away thinking like, well, when I come away thinking, why didn't they just do this? Like, I'm not egomaniacal about that sort of stuff. So I really do think when I come away thinking those things, like that something wrong was done, a step was taken wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. The other film I want to talk about briefly is Ingrid Goes West. That's also in Redbox. This is from.
It's
earlier.
on Hulu as well.
Okay, cool. I don't have its info in front of me because my keyboard's not working, but but the film stars Aubrey Plaza, Elizabeth Olsen, O'Shea Jackson Jr. and others, and it is about Ingrid, who is a. I'll just say essentially what the real plot of this film is. Okay. This is about a mentally ill person who really needs help.
Right.
Ingrid, they set up from the beginning that Ingrid is way too attached to social media, to Instagram. The full internet effect and social media effect has hit this girl, like to where she's crashing weddings, and she's like, she had to get committed and take medication, and she's better now and everything. But she starts following this girl Taylor on Instagram, and Taylor's like a brander. She's one of those people who's a professional Instagram, model, basically wearing other brands and stuff. So of course everything looks glamorous and everything. So Ingrid's mom just died, and so she's got about $60,000. So she moves to Los Angeles specifically to meet and befriend this person, played by Elizabeth Olsen.
Okay.
And I would say hilarity ensues, but it's really like, it's disturbing. Like, and it's presented, and it's all on display. Like, they know. Like, I watched this with my wife, and every time Aubrey Plaza did something, we'd both just be like, "Oh my God." Like not like a, "Oh my God." It was like a, "Oh my God." Like, you're crazy. Like, and to the point where it was like, it wasn't even like cute. It was like, you think about there are people out there who probably do this stuff.
Right.
And you're like, my God. So the film ends in its logical conclusion. Normally films like these where someone has an ulterior motive, you follow them, and I'll say like Wedding Crashers, right? So they meet the girls, they go on that weekend, and they're pretending to be venture capitalists, but they both fall in love with the actual girls. And so how do you profess your love to them while confessing that you're a phony, basically? Right. And so that's like always the central internal conflict of the characters. But in the end, it kind of all works out for the best. Like it eventually they get found out. That's part of the formula, and then what happens there, like temporarily things are bad, but maybe they can turn it around. So this film follows that same kind of formula. It goes to, she does get found out. This film ends with its logical conclusion. And in doing so, this is why this film gets 4 stars from me and not 3, like Blade Runner did. Ingrid Goes West, first of all, it didn't just make a societal statement about social media and the effects of social media and what it does to us psychologically and to our relationships, and to our expectations, and it makes all kinds of statements about grief and depression as well. But more than that, it showed me that through a character that I was creeped out by. I sympathized with her for a little bit. After a while, she lost me, but I didn't feel like I felt like the point was, at a certain point in the film, like I fell off the horse, and the horse turned around and said, "It's okay, you're supposed to fall off here," and it keeps running away. Like, it doesn't go like, "What are you doing?" Like it just goes, no, everyone gets off here. Sense. This is the point. So the film kicks you off at a certain point, and so I think it's to make you either question why you followed her in the first place, probably similar to Walter White, but really more it seemed like it was like, I don't think you're going to like where this is going. So I just want to
Yeah.
go ahead and show you the situation as it is and just stick around for the end kind of a
Right.
thing. So I think it has a it's not one of those films where it's like oh, what do you think? It's like no, here's what we're trying to say.
Right.
And Tara didn't like that. But I did. I said, if it makes if you're going to carry it to an ambiguous or not Hollywood ending, you need to be making a statement.
Yeah.
And you need to be doing more than just like ending the film and saying like, save the whales. You have to have said through the whole film, you need to plant the seed for the whole film that this is the idea you want. And this character is the embodiment of what you think is either right or wrong in the world. And they do that here. So I will say I'm being very cryptic, but I will say that if you are interested in exploring the idea and a story about a person who really needs real relationships and needs professional help, it's a well executed film. Aubrey Plaza does a really good job. I mean, the cast is good. I felt like this is one of those films where people actually talked like people talk. These characters feel real to me. I feel like there's one or two, like, I would call them like D stories. I mean, there's just one or two conversations that are had by characters where you go, I wonder what's up with that. Or, oh, he's mentioning that. I wonder what that is. And it doesn't get brought up again. It's not relevant to the plot. It's just like, by the way, here's what's going on with like my mom or just as an example. So you just feel, like these characters have lives outside of this film.
Right, sure.
And not to like a gigantic degree, but enough to where I was like, oh, I just kind of appreciated the humanity that they took the time to show in here, so that the film the human beings themselves feel more authentic. If you're going to make a statement about, social media versus real life and all that junk. So anyway, I do recommend Ingrid Goes West. I think the cast was good. I think O'Shea Jackson Jr. is great in here. As this just guy who's just getting strung along by Aubrey Plaza. I think this is especially a good film for her. Especially coming off Parks and Rec, she's been making a lot of like, really bold choices, I think. And really showcasing her talents.
Yep.
And so obviously she's good at playing unlikable people and making them watchable. And that's kind of what she does here. So I do recommend Ingrid Goes West. Again, just sort of like Blade Runner, I just wouldn't expect it to have the type of resolution that you want, but hopefully for both films, you're on board for the message. It's just the message is a lot more clear in Ingrid Goes West than it is in Blade Runner. At Blade Runner, I came to the end, I was just like, all right, so what am I supposed to think?
Right.
What do you want me to think? And at Ingrid Goes West, it was like, very clearly, like, this situation's bad.
Right.
So, anyway, I just... just some thoughts, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I remember seeing the trailer and really wanting to see that. And you're right. Aubrey Plaza is great, and Elizabeth Olsen's great. And so it's definitely one that I want to check out. And I did see that it was on Hulu actually tonight. I was just kind of scrolling through and I saw it and I was like, oh, snap. So let me see what Hulu has to say about that first. And so I'll probably check it out.
Yeah. I mean, I do recommend it. Even as users of social media, I think people will get something out. I mean, it really is a film for everybody. It's just like,
right.
I mean, I think every now and then, I think, this is my personal opinion, but I think if all you watch is like feel good, candy corn junk, I won't name names, but then it's just like, I don't think you're getting everything out of movies that you could be getting. And you don't have to be like you don't have to like watch, a Fellini film or anything, but I think you're cheating yourself out of good storytelling and interesting ideas.
Yeah.
So that's a much larger discussion that we have had before on this show. And it really just comes down to the short version is it just comes down to what your preference is. And if you're wanting a big long think piece or something, a social statement, that's not really shoved at you, but just kind of like, you just watched 90 minutes of this idea. So I don't know why this idea shocks you, sort of thing.
Right.
Like,
Right.
So,
Sweet.
So next week we'll be back on Wednesday. talk about a handful of films. I got the agenda in front of me somewhere.
It's a secret though.
Yeah, it is a secret what we're going to talk about. But one of the things we're going to talk about is The Big Sick, because I did see that.
Oof. Okay.
And but we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Next week. Yeah, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible. It sounds like we gave them a reason not to. Maybe we did. I don't know. Thanks for listening. Yeah. Thanks for watching. And thanks for presumably subscribing. And if you haven't done that, just do that right now. Do it right now.
Yeah. Please.
Just do it. Please.
Yes. Please. We need it.
Please. And we'll see you for 152 next week on the HooperCast.
Bye.
Bye. My son says bye like that, by the way.
Does he really?
He doesn't say bye. He's his daycare. He says bye.
Bye.
Bye. I'm trying to think of a really delicate way to say this, but he at least he says bye the way he hears it from the people who care for him.
Ah, that makes sense.
He's not raised by a bunch of Swedish maids.
Right.
So I'll be like, all right, bye-bye, Noah. And he'll be like, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, it's great. I'll try and find a video. It's hilarious.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Y'all come back
See y'all
now.
again next time.
Say bye-bye, Water. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Water. Bye-bye, Water.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Now I'm self-conscious about it, Hooper. Now I can't say it anymore. Bye.
Bye.
I always do that. It's like my sign off.
All right.
It's just a goofy way to say bye, and now I'm self-conscious. You stole it from me.
Y'all go watch some good movies this weekend. We'll see y'all next week.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.